Waiting is the hardest part. At least that seems to be the case for a lot of life. And the Bible has a lot to say about waiting. And I stumbled upon a passage of scripture just the other night that reminded me of different seasons when we're waiting. It's Isaiah chapter 30, verse 18. It says, "Therefore the Lord waits to be gracious to you. Therefore he exalts himself to show mercy to you. For the Lord is a God of justice. Blessed are those who wait for him." Isaiah was written at a time when God's people were in a total mess and they were experiencing judgment. They were experiencing negative consequences for all of their sin, all of their rebellion against God. And time after time, they have turned against God. And the prophet Isaiah comes and he basically gives them a word of judgment, like, "Hey, we've got a problem." But he also, throughout the book in different sections, there's just these beautiful, glowing examples of hope. And so even in the midst of a trial, of challenge, of even experiencing, the difficulty that in a lot of cases is self-induced, Isaiah has a word for us, and it's a word of hope. And this passage in particular really stands out to me. The Lord waits to be gracious to you. Therefore he exalts himself to show mercy to you, mercy, undeserved favor. The Lord is a God of justice. Blessed are those who wait for him. And so in the midst of that desire to show mercy and blessing and favor, that God has a heart, just like any good father would want to show kindness and mercy to his children. I do believe that if your heart is to know God, then I also believe that scripture applies to you, that God longs to be gracious to you and to show you mercy and give you favor. And the question is, what do you do while you wait? That's an excellent question, because there are so many different chapters and seasons in the Christian life and in following God where there are periods where we wait for an indeterminate period of time. Now that can seem really frustrating, but it is not anything new. It is often the case in Scripture that God will make promises and then there will be a significant delay until what he promises comes to fruition. Abram, or Abraham, would be a perfect example. In his golden years, his older years, he and his wife, he's promised a son. His wife is barren and they are past childbearing age. And so you have this amazing promise that he's going to be given a son. And years go by. And I think it's somewhere in the vicinity of 13 years. And in the midst of that, they basically kind of reevaluated, did we hear God correctly? Maybe he means that we should conceive, through another means, involving someone else. And that turns out to be a complete disaster. And nevertheless, there is a period of waiting. And it's often the case throughout the Bible that when God speaks a word, when he provides some direction or a promise, there is a period of waiting for when that happens. So the question is, for you and me, maybe in a period of waiting, maybe you're in a waiting on a relationship or a job or health or finances. I mean, there's countless types of things that we wait for as people of faith. The question is, what do you do in the midst of that? Because if we're not careful and we don't guard our heart, we kind of commit the error that we see also in the Bible, and that is we act rashly, we take matters into our own hands, and as a result of that, we don't follow God, and in some cases, we disobey God. So what can you do? Well, I want to give you just a few things that you can do in waiting on God. The first thing that you can do is you can give thanks. Now, you may not feel like giving thanks, but that is a very biblical thing to do. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 says that we're to give thanks in all circumstances. So waiting would be a part of that. And that also shows faith. Like, God, I am trusting you with this situation. I'm waiting on you. And so I'm not going to be beat down and weary. I'm going to be thankful. I'm going to be grateful. What are you going to thank God for? Well, everything. That he hears your prayer, that you were not forsaken, that it is not hopeless, that it may seem impossible, humanly speaking, what you're waiting on, but it's not impossible. And also, you can thank God in the fact that you, as his child, he's got a plan for you and for this season. You've not been abandoned. Now, it might feel that way at times. You may feel that you're going through something extremely difficult on your own, but the scripture is full of the promises. So first off, I would say you can thank God. A second thing that you can do, in addition to thanking God, and this is related, but it goes, I think, to some degree without saying, is that you can commit yourself to prayer. And prayer is asking God, but prayer is also listening, right? It is being open to God's leadership in your life. And the easiest way to be open to God's leadership in your life is to tell him, God, I am here, and God, I am available to do whatever you want me to do today. If you want me to bless a neighbor, if you want me to serve a family member, if you want me to do whatever you want me to do, I'm available, I'm listening. And that's a great way to start your prayers right there, is just to be available and open to anything that God would have you to do. Now, if you pray and you ask God to open a door, then don't be surprised if someone doesn't call, or don't be surprised if you're not put in a situation where you have the opportunity to help, since you asked God, or since you prayed and told God that you were available. So praying, and of course, praying about the situation, praying for others that are involved, your family. There is wisdom in what they call bathing a situation in prayer. And it's not mindless repetition where we're just chanting or something like that. The Bible teaches against that. But when we're talking about submitting and putting something before God in prayer, we're basically talking about, we're praying about all aspects of it. God, help me to be prepared for when you move. Help me to be prepared with the results. Help me to be open to your leadership if things don't work out the way that I'm envisioning in my mind. Because when you pray about something, it's often the case that God may have a different plan in mind. He may want to do something that's bigger than you imagine. And so the second thing you can do is you can pray. A third thing you can do is you can serve other people. And I guess another way to say that is do what's clear. And I think oftentimes when we're facing a really big difficulty or a challenge or a trial, everything's kind of hinging on that. Like maybe you're trying to restore a relationship right now, and it's like all of your thoughts, your mental bandwidth is all focused on that, and you're waiting, and it seems like nothing is happening, and it seems like God's not moving. Well, maybe it's just the opportunity that you need just to get busy doing all of the other things that you have an opportunity to do in your life, like serving other people, volunteering, helping the homeless. I mean, right? Helping the needy, serving neighbors, building relationships with other members of the family. There's just all types of things that you could be doing. Maybe you're writing encouraging notes or letters or emails to people that are important to you, or texts, right? And instead of focusing like on this problem and you're waiting for God to move, it's like, you know what? God can handle that, and he's going to handle it when he believes that it's the time. So it's time for me to get busy and be faithful doing what God's called me to do. Another thing that you can do while you're waiting, and this is an important one and probably something that should be an entirely separate subject, but you can be at peace with all people by forgiving and just putting your heart before God, forgiving anyone and everyone of any type of offense. Now, why would we do that? Well, first off, Jesus prayed for his persecutors. Jesus forgave. He calls us to forgive. The core Christian conviction is that you have been forgiven by God of sin, which separates you from God. And so as a result, the Bible is so clear on that. It says if you don't forgive your neighbor, it's like you don't even know God. There's a lot of information that says as much. I'd refer you to the book of First John for one place. But so back to the point, what can you do while you're waiting? Just make sure that your relationships with other people, so far as it depends on you, are right and healthy. And so far as it depends on you, if there's someone who has wronged you, don't just wait for them to get it right. They may never get it right. Go ahead and forgive. You need to forgive for your sake, because if you're holding on to anger and bitterness and resentment, it'll destroy your health. It will twist your mind. It will give you an ulcer. I mean, there's just, it will occupy like a cancer. Your brain, which was designed to create and to serve and to love and to experience life in high definition. And so it's like literally unforgiveness is kind of it's like a computer virus. It comes in, Trojan horse, and it just sets up, and it grows and it grows, and it begins to take over different things. And before you know it, you've got a massive problem on your hands. The Bible actually calls that a root of bitterness, and bitterness defiles. So says the book of Hebrews. And so, yeah, what can you do, man? You can make sure that all of your relationships with others, so far as it depends on you, are healthy. Now, the other party of these relationships, they may not want anything to do with it, and that's fine. But so far as it depends on you, you can forgive and you can walk in freedom. Jesus said, "I came that you may have life and have it abundantly." And so the question is the expression of Christianity that you are living out, is that providing life? And is it providing abundant life? And they said, no, not really. Well, one of the reasons could be that there's an issue there, could be because of unforgiveness. That hinders and hurts so many people, because we all have things that we can forgive others about. We get disappointed, we get hurt, we get misunderstood, we get sinned against, all of those things. And the answer is forgiveness. So just a few things that you can do when you're waiting. A final thing I would say to kind of cap this thing off is just remind yourself of the promises of God. Remind yourself of what God has said, and then believe it. Hebrews also says, without faith, it is impossible to please God. You may be facing something that's gone on a lot longer than you anticipated, but it's nothing new. God will move when he's ready to move, and he'll move in the way that he's ready to move. And so the answer in waiting for you and me is not to sit on our hands gritting our teeth, but it's to be faithful. It's to serve other people. It's to forgive anybody that needs to be forgiven. It's to work on healthy relationships. It's to show kindness and unexpected favor to other people. It's to love other people. It's to do all of this stuff. It's to be committed to my own spiritual growth and development, right? This one thing that you're waiting on, God may be waiting on you to pick up his word, to get in his word, he may be directing your life right now towards the door that you never would have taken otherwise. He may be directing you to do things that you never would have considered before, like go to a church or join a Bible study or connect with another Christian man or woman. I mean, he may be doing things that are just so far above what you imagined or expected in your life at this time. And maybe you're extremely hesitant, but when God is leading you to do something, even if you're resistant to do it, when you step through that door, you'll be amazed at what happens on the other side. It will be unexpected. It will be a blessing, and it will do things in your life that will be greater and a lot further reaching than you can imagine. So for those that wait, pray on and hope on, praying for you as you wait. See ya.